Maya Robertson's eyes opened to the sound of pans clattering in her kitchen. For a moment, she thought she was dreaming. The digital clock on her knitstand read 6:47 a.m. Her daughter Zoe wouldn't be up for another hour. But someone was definitely in her apartment. She grabbed the baseball bat she kept by the bed and crept down the narrow hallway. Her heart hammered against her ribs. The smell of coffee and eggs hit her nose. Through the doorway, she saw a man in an expensive suit standing at her stove, cracking eggs into a pan like he owned the place. "What the hell are you doing in my house?" The words came out stronger than she felt. The man turned around. Maya's grip on the bat loosened. Not because she wasn't afraid, because she recognized him. James Crawford, CEO of Crawford Technologies. The man whose office she cleaned every night at 2 a.m. while the rest of the world slept. The man who had walked past her in hallways for 3 years without once looking at her face. "I'm making breakfast," he said, his voice strangely calm. "I hope you like scrambled eggs." His suit was wrinkled. There was dried blood on his collar. His eyes had that hollow look of someone who'd been through something terrible. Maya lowered the bat but didn't put it down. "How did you get in here?" James turned back to the stove, flipping the eggs with practiced ease. "I don't know. I woke up on your couch about an hour ago. I have no memory of how I got here." She felt ice flood her veins. Her daughter was asleep in the next room. A stranger had spent the night in her home. "My daughter," she whispered. "I checked on her when I woke up," James said quickly. "She's fine. I didn't go near her, I swear." Maya's mind raced through impossible scenarios. James Crawford wasn't just any CEO. He was the man who'd approved layoffs of 200 people last month while giving himself a $3 million bonus. She'd heard him on the phone once, laughing about single mothers who always had an excuse to miss work, and now he was in her kitchen making breakfast like it was perfectly normal. "Listen," James said, plating the eggs with shaking hands. "I know how insane this looks, but I need your help. Something happened last night, something I can't remember. And I think it's important. Why would I help you?" Maya's voice was cold. "You don't even know my name, do you? 3 years cleaning your office. 3 years of being invisible." James paused. Something flickered across his face. Recognition or maybe shame. Before he could answer, Maya's phone rang. Unknown number. She picked up. "Maya Robertson?" The voice was sharp, professional, female. "This is Victoria Crawford, James's sister. We need to talk about what happened last night." Maya's blood went cold. Victoria Crawford, Chief Operating Officer, known for being even more ruthless than her brother. "I don't know what you're talking about. Don't play games with me." Victoria's voice turned to ice. "We know exactly where my brother spent the night. And we know an opportunistic woman like you might see this as a lottery ticket." The words hit Maya like a physical blow. There it was. The assumption that always followed her. Poor, black, single mother. Must be looking for a handout. "I'm going to make this simple," Victoria continued. $10,000. Sign a non-disclosure agreement. Forget this ever happened. Maya looked at James, who was gesturing frantically, clearly trying to stop his sister. $10,000, Maya repeated slowly. "That's what you think my silence is worth? That's more money than someone in your position sees in 6 months. Take it, or we'll make sure you never work in this city again." Maya felt that familiar fire in her chest. The same fire that had kept her going when she was 16 and pregnant, kicked out by her family. The same fire that got her through night school while working 3 jobs. "Someone in my position," she said quietly. "You heard me correctly. Take the money or face the consequences." Maya hung up. James was staring at her with a mixture of horror and something else. Respect, maybe. "You don't understand what you just did. Victoria doesn't make empty threats, and you don't understand who your sister just threatened." Maya walked to the window. A black SUV had been parked across the street for the past 20 minutes. Her phone rang again. This time it was her supervisor at the cleaning company. "Maya Robertson, I'm calling to inform you that your employment has been terminated, effective immediately. Disciplinary issues." Maya closed her eyes. 3 years of perfect performance reviews. Gone in 30 seconds. "What disciplinary issues?" "That's confidential. You'll receive documentation." "Who called you? Was it Victoria Crawford?" Silence on the other end told her everything she needed to know. Maya hung up and looked at James. He'd slumped into one of her kitchen chairs. "She's trying to isolate you. No job means you're more desperate for her offer." "Desperate?" Maya laughed, but there was no humor in it. "You want to know what desperate really is, Mr. Crawford?" James looked up at her. "It's being 16 and pregnant with nowhere to go because your family cares more about reputation than blood." She walked to the refrigerator where photos of Zoe hung with colorful magnets. A smiling girl with braids, wearing her school uniform. It's working 3 jobs while going to night school. Carrying a sleeping baby on the bus at midnight because you can't afford a car. It's graduating, top of your class in business administration, only to find out the corporate world would rather hire the boss's incompetent nephew than a qualified black woman. She turned to face him. "It's hearing people like your sister assume you're a criminal or a gold digger the second things don't go their way." James said nothing. The shame on his face was real now. "So don't talk to me about desperate, Mr. Crawford. Your sister just handed me something I've been waiting for. She just doesn't know it yet." Her phone rang a 3rd time. Victoria again. Maya put it on speaker. "I see you got my message about your job." Victoria's voice dripped with false sweetness. "This is just the beginning. I have contacts everywhere. No one will hire you after I'm done." "Is that a threat?" Maya asked calmly. "It's a promise. Unless you take my very generous offer." "Generous," Maya smiled. "You know what's interesting, Victoria? This entire conversation is being recorded." The silence on the other end was deafening. "That's illegal," Victoria finally said. "Actually, in this state, only one party needs to consent to recording. I consent. I've been consenting for 3 years. James's eyes went wide. "What are you talking about?" 3 years of cleaning offices at 2 a.m., Maya said, still on the phone with Victoria listening. "You'd be amazed what people leave lying around, documents they forget to shred, computers they forget to lock, conversations they have thinking no one's listening." "You're bluffing," Victoria said, but her voice had lost its edge. "Am I? Let me tell you what I have, Victoria. I have recordings of board meetings where you discussed creating fake disciplinary charges to fire people before their benefits vested. I have emails about discriminatory hiring practices. I have evidence of accounting irregularities that would make the SEC very interested." James stood up so fast his chair fell over. Maya ignored him. "I have 3 years of systematic documentation of every illegal, unethical, and discriminatory practice at Crawford Technologies. And you just threatened me, fired me illegally, and attempted to blackmail me. All on a recorded line." "This is extortion," Victoria hissed. No, this is justice. You had your chance to do the right thing. Instead, you assumed I was too stupid and too powerless to fight back. That was your mistake." Maya hung up. James was staring at her like he'd never seen her before. "You've been collecting evidence for 3 years?" "I've been protecting myself for 3 years. There's a difference." She opened her laptop and James saw dozens of meticulously organized folders, audio files, scanned documents, photographs. "Oh my God." His voice was barely a whisper. "Did you plan this?" "No, I planned to survive. I planned to protect myself if something went wrong. And people like your sister always eventually go too far." She clicked on a folder labeled Board Meetings, March. Victoria's voice filled the room. "We'll create performance improvement plans for the older employees. Document everything. Then we can fire them before they hit 20 years and qualify for full pensions. Perfectly legal if we do it right." James looked like he might be sick. "I never knew she was doing this. But you benefited from it?" Maya said quietly. "Every bonus you got came from money saved by destroying people's lives. Every profit report that made you look good was built on systematic abuse." Her bedroom door opened. Zoe stood there, rubbing her eyes. "Mommy? Who's that man?" Maya immediately went to her daughter. "Just someone from work, baby. Go back to bed. I'll make you pancakes in a bit. Did you get fired?" "I heard you on the phone." "Mommy's just changing jobs, sweetie. Sometimes change is good." Zoe looked at James with the brutal honesty only children possess. "You look sad. Are you in trouble?" James managed a weak smile. "Yes, I think I am." "Then you should say sorry. Mommy says sorry fixes things." After Zoe went back to bed, Maya turned to James. "Your sister made a fatal mistake. She assumed I was powerless. But I turned 3 years of invisibility into ammunition." "What are you going to do?" James asked. "What happens now?" Maya picked up her phone and made a call. "Dr. Morrison?" "It's Maya Robertson." "Yes, it's time." She hung up and looked at James. 3 years ago, I met a civil rights attorney in your building's cafeteria. He'd been fired for reporting discrimination at his firm. We stayed in touch." "Marcus Morrison," James whispered. "He won the largest discrimination settlement in state history, $45 million. And he's been waiting for the right case to take down a company like yours. Congratulations, Mr. Crawford. You and your sister just became that case." James sank back into the chair. "This will destroy everything. The company, my family, my reputation." "Yes," Maya said simply. "It will, just like your sister tried to destroy mine. But all those employees, thousands of people depend on Crawford Technologies for their jobs. Then maybe you should start thinking about doing right by them before it's too late." Her phone buzzed. A text from Dr. Morrison. "I can file the paperwork by noon. We'll have enough evidence for criminal charges, civil suits, and federal investigations. Are you ready?" Maya looked at James, really looked at him. He wasn't the confident CEO anymore. He was a man realizing the empire he'd built was constructed on suffering he'd chosen not to see. "I'm giving you one chance," Maya said. "One. You can help me fix this. Testify against your sister. Clean up the company. Make real changes. Or you can go down with her." "Why would you give me a chance?" "Because your sister assumed I was vindictive, that I wanted revenge. But I don't want revenge, Mr. Crawford. I want justice. I want every person your company has hurt to be made whole. And I want to make sure it never happens again." James was quiet for a long moment. Then he pulled out his phone and made a call. Victoria, I'm turning myself in. For everything. And I'm taking you down with me." He hung up before she could respond. "I'll testify. I'll help however I can. But I need to know something. Why were you cleaning offices when you have a business degree?" Maya smiled sadly. "Because 400 applications with my name on top got me 4 interviews. 400 applications after I changed my name to sound less black got me 40 interviews. That's why." James looked like he'd been slapped. "I never knew. That's the problem. People like you never know because you never have to." 6 months later, Maya walked into the newly renamed Morrison Crawford Institute for Corporate Ethics. Her new office had her name on the door. Director of Operations. Dr. Morrison had insisted after the settlement. $50 million. Criminal charges against Victoria Crawford. A complete restructuring of the company. Zoe ran down the hallway, her backpack bouncing. "Mommy, can I come to your big meeting today?" "Of course, baby." Today is very special. The meeting was with former Crawford Technologies employees who'd been illegally fired. The settlement had provided compensation, job placement, and full benefits restoration for all of them. "Thank you," a woman named Patricia said, tears in her eyes. "I'd given up hope. 23 years with that company, and they threw me away like garbage." "They threw you away," Maya corrected. "But we picked you back up. All of us together." James appeared in the doorway. He'd stepped down as CEO but stayed on as a consultant. He was using his own money to fund employee education programs. "How's the first day in the new role?" he asked. "Strange. Good strange. You earned it. Everything you've built here," he smiled. "By the way, Zoe told me she wants to be a lawyer now. Like Dr. Morrison. She wants to help people like us. People who get knocked down but get back up." That evening, Maya received a letter. No return address. Just a single page. "Maya, you were right about everything. I lost my position, my reputation, everything. Maybe one day you'll forgive me, Victoria." Maya folded the letter carefully. Forgiveness might come, but consequences had to come first. She looked at Zoe doing homework at the kitchen table. The same kitchen where James Crawford had made breakfast that impossible morning 6 months ago. The same kitchen where everything had changed. "Mommy?" Zoe asked. "How did you do it? How did you win?" Maya thought about all those nights cleaning offices while the world slept. Every document photographed. Every conversation recorded. Every injustice documented. I turned every moment they made me feel invisible into proof that I was paying attention. I turned every insult into motivation. And when they tried to destroy me, I was ready. Is that what justice is? Justice is making sure people can't hurt others without consequences. It's making sure everyone has a fair chance. Zoe smiled. I want to do that when I grow up. Then I'll teach you everything I know. That night, after Zoe fell asleep, Maya stood at her window looking out at the city. Somewhere out there, Victoria Crawford was facing the reality of her choices. Somewhere, James Crawford was learning what it meant to actually fix the systems he'd broken. And here, in this apartment where it had all begun, Maya Robertson stood taller than she ever had before. The real victory wasn't destroying the people who'd hurt her. It was building something better. The Morrison Crawford Institute was helping hundreds of workers fight discrimination. James's education fund had already sent 12 single parents to college. And Maya herself had become living proof that dignity and intelligence could triumph over prejudice and power. Dr. Morrison called it the most important civil rights case of the decade. James called it his awakening. But for Maya, it was simpler than that. It was the moment when 3 years of being invisible became 3 years of perfect witness, when forced silence became devastating testimony, when a cleaning lady became the architect of corporate justice. If this story touched you, remember this. The people you overlook might be the ones documenting everything. The voices you silence might be the ones that eventually speak the loudest. And sometimes the greatest power doesn't come from wealth or position. It comes from a mother protecting her daughter, armed with nothing but truth, patience, and 3 years of evidence gathered in the dark. Maya had learned that the best response to systematic cruelty isn't revenge, it's revolution. Not the kind with violence, but the kind that restructures power itself. The kind that says, "You thought I was nothing, but I was everything you should have feared." A witness, a documenter, a woman who turned your contempt into your downfall. And in the end, that's the lesson Victoria Crawford learned too late. Never underestimate the person you've made invisible, because invisible people see everything. And some of them, like Maya Robertson, remember it all,